we good to start. I just want to say, as usual, welcome everybody to this masterclass on how to carry on Daredevil. I'm gonna structure it in the same way like I did before with the previous masterclasses, maybe like on Angela. I think there was the most recent one, how to carry on that character. We talked a little bit about her and watched some of the pro players. I saved some of the examples of what they do, how they apply all the concepts there. In my opinion, Daredevil is quite mobile flank character, flank DPS. You can do quite a lot of destructing the enemy. You exactly by taking and off angles, we also able to provide a lot of damage output for anyone who is new, maybe anyone who is going to be watching the recording as well. Off angle is the exact position away from your core. And with in case of Daredevil, you can take deep angles, but I think those are gonna be pretty short range because you don't have unlimited mobility. Your main disengage tools, obviously, when we trying to do damage, for example, we can build the Rider's Cross, and this kind of pulls you up a little bit, pulls you towards the enemy or out of sticky situation. Maybe you can use it as mobility, but mainly in my experience it's been shift. As from what I watched around 10 people playing Daredevil. It's been mainly at the top, and this is what they've been doing most of the time in my experience, just using this as a disengage tool. But first of all, we always need to set up first. I think it's the best if we just look at the replay, and then I will go step by step over every concept, so it makes sense visually. It makes sense of just what I'm talking about. Let's just start with positioning, and then we move towards the timing, and then we can move towards decisions. What the character does with abilities, what character does with ultimate, stuff like that. I think it would be good. Yeah, and as usual, if you guys have any questions, you can ask those in the chat. Yeah, I think we good to start. Yeah, maybe do you guys, any of you, do you have any questions, anything specific you want me to focus on regarding this character? Anything you're interested in before we start, or?
I would suggest something about like how to really master like the whole reflection thing that Daredevil has.
Yeah, reflection makes sense. Did you have a chance to play the game like Overwatch, actually?
I've never really played Overwatch
That's okay.
actually.
That's okay.
However, I have played a TF2 back in the day, if that sort of counts.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. To be honest, I don't have much experience with TF2, but regarding the Overwatch, why I'm bringing this up, because there are a lot of similarities to what you do with the Genji, in my opinion, because this is sort of reflect, and it's reflecting back projectiles. So if there is any sort of good amount of damage you can reflect, this is gonna be fine. But see, the thing about the reflect is gonna be mostly about sustainability, but I will cover that more 100%. I think this is a definitely good sim to cover. It's just because there's a lot of damage towards you. If you reflect that at the right time, you also might do some sort of pressure as well. This is what's good to know, but mostly it's gonna be for sustainability. Okay, so what I got you is one of the good VODs here. I think this guy, from what I've watched, they're doing pretty decent on the character. And they are top 15 right now, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we can analyze them a little bit. Maybe some of the coaches before, they already done some analysis, but yeah, I think this is pretty good. This is pretty good player to pay attention to. And I also have their video just in case. It's gonna be all in the written notes like I did before. I always post the notes here in Glass and Drills, and just in case you guys can open the document, it looks like this, and just watch the entire video too. I recorded something, or just watch the replay. Once it's gonna be expired, yeah, just watch the video in this case, and it's gonna be good enough to just to give you an idea of what you gotta do of the character. Right, let's see, what do we got? Yeah, this is Central Park. You have some ability to flank quite a lot, and let's just start with that, actually. With this character, you can take off angles, and those off angles, a lot of the times, in my experience, gonna be, if possible, you will need to use some sort of verticality, if that makes sense. So with verticality, it's just you either take the high ground, you start there, or you can just run up on the wall and like Hulk or Venom, you can start your engagement there. You can scout from those positions too, and then drop on someone. And it's always good to start with the setup. Don't start engaging the enemy right away, but just start going somewhere on the best position possible. For example, here we could be, let's say the enemy for whatever reason they starts pressure here, I can go above this wall. Or let's say the fight is in a choke, I can go above this high ground, maybe I can go above the left side and stuff like that. So let's watch what this eating attackers, their name, they will do. First off, regarding the setup, we can see they setting up right away, actually using their Rider's Cross as well, because there's some capability for you to activate this ability. You can just look for this throw, and then after that we can use Rider's Cross right away to set up. This is okay at the early stage of the fight, you always prioritize that, and then you running up on the wall, this gives you an extra off angle, and from here we can set up our own pressure if you want to. You see, they're being pretty patient with the engagements, they're not committing right away, but yeah, first off, it's just always set up. Make sure you get in the best position possible. Now, the thing about off angles is because you don't have too long, you don't have too much mobility, to be honest. You have the shift, this is good enough, but you're not able to use multiple mobility tools. Like on Psylocke, for example, you have multiple dashes. On Black Panther, there are, in my opinion, there's slightly more mobility as well. With this character, there are not as many tools, so you need to make sure that angles are more a short range or mid range oriented. You cannot be too far away from your core as well. You gotta attack at the melee range. You gotta keep that in mind. Obviously, there are times when we can fight isolated targets too, but in my experience from what I've seen so far, the angle is going to be looking just like that. You see, the core is starting here, we can start on some sort of verticality, and then this is going to be pretty short range oriented. You can use the rule of thumb is if you use your shift and you can end up near your team, that is going to be good enough angle, to be honest. If you notice, your shift, oh well, for anybody who's on the console, what's the name of the ability? Devil Sludge, yeah. Devil Sludge is gonna be not too long range, to be honest. So you gotta keep in mind, just play one Devil Sludge away. This is gonna be good enough, in my opinion. So they always start with some sort of angle, and then if something goes wrong, we can always use the deflect, like a sustainability tool, and then escape after if we need to. But here comes the second layer about the angles. You actually don't have to escape. In my opinion, I always emphasize this on any character. A lot of the people, they say, for example, they say, do you fight from maybe back to front or front to back in a way? Yeah, what are you exactly doing with the character? Which in the case of this character, you kind of fight in the back line and then you go to front if something goes wrong. But if you can, try to maintain your angle as much as possible. How to do that? You gotta use cover, you gotta use HP packs, you gotta use all the utility the map brings you. Exactly. And this guy is really good at this stuff. They're using verticality, they are exactly just using the off angle, maintain it as long as possible, and not going back towards the team right away. Well, obviously, sometimes you're not able to do that right away. For example, here they don't have shift to maybe do that. But this is what I mean. Your shift can be your tool, which allows you to also, just in case, to maintain the angle too. Sometimes it's not always go back to the front. So we can see them, they're actually being pretty patient, they're on the angle. This diverts attention, allows the rest of their team to push, and we can just also have high uptime as well, because in my experience, if you start here and you go on the backline and then you instantly go back to your team, there's a low uptime unless you constantly fighting the tanks, fighting the front line. But I think this is always good to have high uptime together with fighting the squishes, because there are more opportunities for you to secure the kill and just keep diverting the enemy's attention. So yeah, we can see that they're being pretty patient here to start the engagement, and if something goes wrong, we obviously can try to escape, use verticality, maybe use even our radius cross or something. Here, unfortunately, died, but got resurrected. This is fine. And start off first off with, and this is something what we'll talk about later about the ability. Start off with the throw, so you can just actually have the good uptime because you always have the Fury. This is the thing to spend. A lot of players I've watched, just on average, they're not using abilities, if that makes sense. They're not pressing buttons. So basically, they sometimes hold on their abilities for too long. And this guy is really good at this stuff. They're really good with the uptime. Just starting with the stroke. Then after that, we can always follow up with our normal damage. And this here, it's gonna be, in my opinion, if you talk about just how you actually do damage, yeah, it's gonna be about your E, how you are using that correctly. And usually, when you're in the melee range, you will see that most of the time, you might end up using the E, and because there are two modes, let's just watch. I think it will show it right here. We're just gonna do it on the 0.25 speed. Once they attack something, they're gonna be two modes. You either use the throw, or you can use the slam right on the zone in front of somebody. So for example here, what we can end up using and why. Let's watch. So most of the time, when you're fighting, I think it's gonna be okay enough for you to use the slam, but this depends. I think for the higher damage output, if the targets are stacked, maybe if you're providing a little bit of poking first, yeah, not really, then you're not able to secure the kill, I think it's fine to just use the throw ability. Yeah, just make sure that once you in this mode, you kind of force out something. Like for example here, in case Wolverine, we need to make sure some of their mobility is forced before we actively commit. Yeah, if you just using the slam right away, I think it's gonna be complicated. You need to make sure the target is more killable to confirm the slam, in my opinion. Yeah, here they messed up a little bit, but yeah, it's okay. This happens. Then anyway, we're still always gonna see them trying to start off with some sort of off angle, and then they can start the pressure afterwards. Let's see again. Where they're gonna go? Probably gonna go up on the left side. Yeah, let's see. Not too many people using this part of the map, actually. Sometimes they forget, well, I can just walk through here, actually. You don't have to always be stuck in the choke. I think this is pretty good for any character, just not only flanker, to use overall. The rotation on the map, yeah, just take extra angle if you ever feel like you're stuck in the choke. Okay, now the fighting, anybody who is isolated pretty comfortably because they have a lot of burst, they're able to catch the target as well because they spend the Fury. There's Rider's Cross, which allows you to just go towards the target and catch it, just especially if it's isolated and trying to run away. And I think this is a really good for the character. You see them maintaining the angle as long as possible, and even though you not ended up getting a lot of kills, you divert the attention, which allows your team to walk. Yeah, and here is just gonna be, again, if you notice, we can slow down because I talked about the abilities a little bit more. Let's go back. What they start with and why? Yeah, because you gotta have high damage output. We are setting up first, and then we gotta look to engage. We gotta look to do something. And usually, you start off with your Devil's Throw. Because, well, just for the uptime sake, yeah, because you usually have your almost full Fury. You need to maybe also force out something just from the enemy. And after you've done it, you can usually follow up with your normal, it's usually gonna be a Devil's Chain if you're trying to brawl the enemy a little bit. Maybe you're more confident in securing the kill as well. I think this is the time when you do that. For example, here, you see them, they're getting pulled in, but it's fine. They're committing the deflect first off, you have to make sure they stay alive, and then there's ability for them to just to try to use the Rider's Cross as well for additional damage. And then here, they're choosing to use the Slam, I think. Let's watch. Yeah, so there's just more and more pressure towards them. They're trying to hit. Yeah, there's Rider's Cross right there. And notice that they always spending the Fury. They're always finding a way to have this uptime. Yeah. In this case, it's just hitting the hitting the Slam is good enough. Okay, let's keep watching. By the way, do you guys have any questions so far? Let me actually open up the chat if you Normally also use dating taggers right now game. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, actually, I didn't watch the nominees class, to be honest. I saw they uploaded the session. It's been on the academy, but I just looked at the best players out there on the leaderboard and whatnot. I tried to find something on YouTube too, and then this guy has been one of the best in my opinion, just from what I watched as well. Yeah.
A quick question.
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you gain rage faster by primary firing or melee?
Yeah, so the thing is about the rage, let's just go back the exit replay. Because you always get the rage on action. Whenever you're not spending rage, you get the rage, yeah? The amount of the rage, it depends, I think. Let me see. Generally speaking, there's gonna be, to give you exact number, I think have to go on somewhere like Wiki, because the exact numbers might be tough, but yeah, you can exactly see because it's more by the feel. Okay, so for example here, I use the rage. It's usually gonna be, well, for example, I started with Devil's Throw. Normal attack is gonna give you rage, right? But melees as well, and this is gonna be the same. Let's see the amount. Actually, we may count because I never counted the amount. I never compared. Normal melee is this amount. Okay, normal fire. Yeah, well, it's kind of gonna be the same. Let's just have this empty. Make sure we have the empty one. Yeah, so it's like normal melee here, attack. This is melee. Let's do melee again. Yeah, it's the same. It's kind of shows in a weird way visually right there. I think the more correct way is like to show this here. Okay, I cannot. I think I cannot draw on this one. Let me have it. Maybe display. Well, it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, this is gonna be like half of this fire, right? Each time I hit something, it's gonna be the melee or the normal fire. It's gonna be half. So I think with the melee, you can sneak some amount of damage, but it's usually gonna be, from what I've seen, is players kind of hit 4 times, and then they're gonna be using melees, if I'm not mistaken, for the double damage. I think there have been some videos out there too where they explored some of the tech too. If you guys are curious, I can link some with you, but for you, but it's just been mainly like that. You can sneak in the melee, but mostly just normal fire, obviously, for the normal damage output from what I've seen. Let's see. Yeah, so this has been basically it. Yeah, while I'm here, actually, do you guys have any questions about the mechanical specifics? Yeah, I have some summary over here from what I've written. I can maybe just talk about some mechanical details as well. What do you guys have questions about? Is there anything else, or if not, we can continue with what? It's fine. Just want to make sure everybody knows. I think mostly for the mechanical details, you can obviously check. I think there are good resources out there too, just in case of the numbers, because sometimes I'm not exactly accurate, but can tell you exactly what the character will be doing overall, just because of how it works based on my experience in Overwatch and my rivals for multiple years, and from what I watched, obviously, from what I've seen, analyzed the other players too. Yeah, but let me see. Let me just open up the chat. How do you counter Daredevil? Honestly, the same thing like I would do against any other dive character. First off, you need to poke out the divers always. Those are always general principle. That's why I always tell you guys, if you have the fundamentals, if you know those, it doesn't matter what the character they release. You can always deal with that. And always starting off with scouting where the Daredevil can be, and if you can poke them before the fight, that's gonna give you an advantage, because they will have to use some sort of mobility, or maybe even sustain to just stay alive. And sustain, it's they right click, right? Maybe just also force out some of their shields if they build one. Yeah, because the building shields as well, and this allows them to stay in the fight. If you notice, you can watch, you guys can pay attention to just this Eating Tacos guy, how they build in the shields. But yeah, poke them before, and then after that, if they actually dive you, then you can obviously peel for your team, but it depends. I think the first emphasis against the dive is always do something before they dive you, not right when they dive you. Obviously, you have characters like Emma Frost using the diamond form, you have Penny also placing mines on the angle slightly. If you have good Penny, just to try to prevent them from taking those sidelines. But once they do, they actually get the abilities forced. Stuff like that. Yeah, hope that makes sense. Does that answer the question, Enigma, or you have any more? Yes, thank you. Okay, no problem. Let's keep watching. Actually, if you have your own replays too, by the way, guys, you can send me some of those. I will take a look. Maybe we can analyze something. Yeah, so I think this is pretty long time beyond this first point. Let's yeah, I think this is the time. Yeah, when this is the time where they captured. The first point, well, a lot of people struggle with this. I think there's pretty strong choke over here. There's definitely, it's complicated because you have less angles option. But on the second point, there are more opportunities for you to flank, just go around, make sure you use the best position possible for you on Daredevil. Like we said, it's just mostly verticality, some sort of angle, off angle, but it's not gonna be too deep. You need to play one shift away, one Daredevil slash away from your team, in my opinion. Yeah, here we see they committing a little bit more. Why? Because they have an advantage. So I think it's reasonable. You can commit when there's a big advantage. Make sure you have an escape though, and they're more likely to get their shift here. Yeah. So they, unfortunately, they're not able to escape. But honestly, if they do it right, I think if they just keep up the pressure and escape with the shift after, this is gonna be good enough, to be honest. It's just a little bit greedy, obviously, but this can be okay sometimes if you're really at the big advantage. Ideally, I want to make sure you're set up for the fight, which is over here. Just make sure that you have some sort of maybe verticality here. Maybe you can also flank around, use the buildings, just sneak on their backline too, stuff like that. That's alright. Even the past players, they do mistakes. It's all good. Alright. Let's watch. So they always start with, again, starting with the Soul. We are spending Fury. And then after that, we're gonna be doing the damage. And the ability I didn't talk about is your F ability. Yeah, this is a... What's the name of it? Let me see. It's good. Sonic Pursuit, right? Mostly with Sonic Pursuit is gonna be you either using it to confirm a kill. If you're really confident, you can do something on the character. There's a more likely chance for you to kill the character. I think this is good ability to start with. Yeah, you're gonna be starting with the because the cooldown, the way it works is when you spend it, and if you kill the character after, it resets. So, for example here, let's see. If they're gonna get a kill, actually. Yeah, let's watch. They're kind of holding for it right now. But if there's this possibility, and see, because there's maybe they recognize there's no just killable target right now, I think it's fine to just remain the normal damage. But once there's a chance they know, oh, there's a good target they can commit to, just maybe too low HP, or maybe they used all their abilities. I think it's fine. Yeah, like here, right there. So the enemy starts walking, and some abilities been used before. They started with a throw, somebody got low, and they started with committing the F ability right there. So what it does, it pulls you towards an enemy, and this obviously gonna be leading to additional uptime, additional damage, and then we can follow up with the normal fire. Yeah, it's just gonna be activating, yeah, each time you use it's either F or using your throw, or using the just normal slam. It just once you use your E, it's gonna be able to activate your Rider's Cross, is where it pulls you in a little bit. You can see it here. Let's just maybe slow it down as well, so you guys can look. Yeah, let's just once they're gonna set up, yeah, the downside pressure. They know they're not able to get a kill. Yeah, so we start with the Devil's Throw to spend the Fury. And then, after, kill opportunity. We see that. Let's press F. Activating Rider's Cross right away. They're really fast at just transitioning, I think. And here, they almost got this guy with Rider's Cross, and they try to follow up with this pressing E, using the slam there. It's almost, yeah, I think if they pull towards this here, this is gonna be easily resetting their cooldown. Let me see if they follow up on the Rocket Raccoon, actually. They start committing after the Hela. This is also killable, to be honest. Just normal damage. Maybe be able to reset the cooldown. Yeah, it's almost. Still makes sense, I think. But sometimes you're gonna end up in the situations like this where, well, you just not able to secure the kill. Unfortunately, whenever the enemy team stacked in, whenever you activate your F ability, if you're marked with that, if they are too stacked in and your team is not able to follow up, for example here, my team is only able to shoot anybody who walks through. But if you commit in the area where they're not able to see, like right there, and the enemy team is stacked, I think it's gonna be complicated. You have to make sure that it's either isolated target or your teammates follow up. This is a good illustration of this happening. Yeah, they got punished, but it's fine. Let's watch their next engagement. Most likely we'll see them just forcing out the abilities, and then right after they will use the F. Yeah. So again, let's watch that. They start in with the throw. Just go back. Starting with the throw.
You're on my radar.
Obviously, setting up first. Yeah, it's always set up and attack second. You don't want to attack right away unless you have big advantage. Hey, I just got here. Do you think that Daredevils could be good in the tournament or pro scene or no? Why not? I think any high skill ceiling character is reasonable. It can be for sure one. I think it's okay, to be honest. To be honest with you, I also been not watching, like, for at least from recent, I've been not watching too many tournament videos. Obviously, the just knowing what's good, and then my experience has been on Overwatch as well. What we're doing always, because there's some speculation before the character gets released, there's some speculation right after the character gets released, is it good or not? But honestly, it's mostly done through testing. You just gotta actually scrim with that character and test. And right now, I don't have any team to work with the Marvel Rivals. I'm just working with Overwatch teams currently. So I cannot tell. We always, if we committing for the long term, working with the teams for whatever, then I can give you more info. But now it needs some testing, and I need to watch the teams as well, obviously. That's okay though. Can Daredevil be used as an anti-dive here because of his wall hacks? Honestly, I don't think it's good anti-dive character. You need to think about setting up your pressure mostly. Obviously, this ability gives you opportunity to counter dive something, spot the angles, but the higher you go, the more you notice that people actually know that you're there. They actually expect you to be on the angle. It's just how you play the angle what matters. If you're using your cover correctly, if you're using your abilities correctly, you're using your mobility tools, if you're diver, this is what matters. Obviously, being more let's say, maybe choosing angles where it's not as expected to is important. Yeah, maybe switching between the angles too, but to be honest, the players will know, most likely, that you will flank. You're on Daredevil, you will flank. They will try to check flanks, so it comes down to just how you play it most of the time. And that's why to just spot the characters just for that, I don't think you have to. I think you can comment out to your team where the enemy flankers are. Yeah, obviously you can. I think there's good value with that. If it's not it's if it's not, let's say, if you call out and your performance drops, then obviously don't do that. Yeah, for whatever reason, if you just focus on that, this is not good because your character is all about making sure that you provide burst damage, make sure you flank. But a lot of the times, what happens it's especially I think starting from diamond plus, plat plus, when you on the angle, the enemy will try to take the angle too. So let's say I'm on Daredevil here, my team attacks this A position. In theory, I could be going towards the B position or could be going towards the C to try to flank. Take some sort of angle this way, off angle this way. But the enemy team will do the same. They will try to take off angle. So most likely what will happen is you will meet other off angles. So there's going to be this guy at C1 trying to pressure me. There's going to be somebody here at the B1 pressuring me. Team at A also will have some members. But first off, you will be fighting the angles. And yeah, obviously during this time, you will be maybe sometimes not always finishing the flanker. Yeah, maybe they will be able to go forward. Maybe you lost the duel. Yeah, and especially before and after the duel, you can call out the info. So maybe your team can send help or you just get extra advantage this way. I think this is good. Sometimes there gonna be situations like, let's say I took this lane and this is empty, but I know there's somebody flanking and my team is not marking this flank. This case, yeah, sure. If nobody is actually marking the angle, call this out. Why not? Let me see. Is there anything else? If you have nothing to do, you can try to clear out the flanker. Yeah, like I mentioned here, a lot of the times this is what will happen, especially if you have similar characters. You will meet on the flanks, you will meet on the angles. You have to challenge yourself first. But the first stage is always going to be about map control, and then after, we can use the map control to our advantage. We can set up our pressure in the back line or the front line, just whatever. Honestly, but always map control first, objective second. You don't want to push objective first. Yeah, make sure you clear the space around the map. Yeah, anyway, back to the topic. We talked about their pressure, just with them using the Devil Sword first for the uptime, spending the Fury. The target's pretty low. Notice that they mostly committing to the targets. It's either, let's put it this way. I'm thinking to simplify, because you're trying to commit after killable targets with your F ability. And what killable is about, it's either because they isolated, or they used a lot of their defensive abilities, or they're pretty low. You know that there's a high chance you get a kill on them because of it. I think it's fine. Like here, Namor is pretty isolated. Even though they will use their chef, there's a high chance you can finish them within the frame of 15 seconds. I think it's gonna be reasonably fine. You start with that ability first, and then after you can commit. They do notice that there is a Bucky on this angle while this guy is hiding in the in the shift right now. So let's just try to go after somebody else. But yeah, after you've done this, sorry, let's go back to the POV. Yeah, we can start with damage. Just constantly spending the Fury. Fury, it's either using their right click or using their slam. I think you just need to look at the exact situation, what you want to do. Again, here, if there's a lot of damage for whatever reason, the deflect or reflect right click is going to be good enough. Yeah, a lot of the projectiles floating in my way. Let's use that. Use it for sustain, and then try to stay in the angle as much as possible. See, they're not falling back towards the team. They're not even using shift, to be honest. They just stay there. They constantly try to divert the attention. Being really annoying, honestly, with the with this towards anybody, towards the enemy. Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, let's see it. Starting with normal pressure. Let's see if they commit F ability here. Yeah, they start committing. Maybe recognize it well. This is something what's potentially killable. I can always commit to. Rider's Cross allows you to chase the target too, just in case. And the slam, when you use your E or throw, deals additional damage. You know, you can combo Jeff and Daredevil's ult. Well, I guess you can combo anything, pretty much. I mean, I honestly, I think when you have Jeff and you have Daredevil, they will take similar angles. They can take similar angles. I think it's quite nice if you can do the pressure from there, and then afterwards you can just well, you can divert the attention. You can spend the enemy resources. If somebody's isolated, you can commit. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff you can do together. The Jeff, even though yeah, there been some nerfs to what it's been before, but yeah, this is still okay character to take the angles, and you can have the splits. If you guys play in a team, there are always splits where they have some sort of group taking an angle. There's gonna be a group just sitting in the front line, and another group. It depends, yeah. But typically, they're gonna be 3 groups in the play. Yeah, if we're talking about a team where, especially if they practice long enough, they practice taking angles more and more. The more the game develops, the more angle control is important, always. Yeah, a good example here, by the way. How they starting with vertical off angle. You can create any off angle, not by just sitting somewhere here or just going back here, but just start with verticality. And when your team is ready to push, you can always follow up. Actually, regarding the timing, I think this is one of the most important things for any dive character, and this character in particular. Of when most of your team is ready, you can attack. You can obviously just kind of think about it like the kill zone. For example, here, there's gonna be the zone where if the enemies goes in, if I attack something, my team most likely will follow up. Just always scout if they're able to. Of course, just look. Okay, set up first, then have to look and check. If my team is ready, I can try to follow up and go whenever. Yeah, ideally choose the backline, probably what's more killable, but you always want to start somewhere on the verticality first. And then another time, when he can attack is it's gonna be no matter what, and there's the general rule for the dive characters is just if somebody's isolated, you can commit whenever. And it's been like, for example, here, somebody's isolated in this room, and they will not get any help for whatever reason. Let's commit. I think it's gonna be good enough. You can always always burst them, and Rider's Cross allows you to exactly chase. Oh, obviously the cooldowns, especially if you have the tank, which allows you to stay in the fight a little bit more. Like if you have Magneto who can bubble you, you can also call that out, so you can just make sure you maintain the pressure, but you also have shields too. In my experience, it's always gonna be go in, trade tank ability, yeah, make sure there's more, you tank the defensive first, and then after that, you need to spend your shields. And then if the shields are gone, and you less than half HP, you will be using your a reflect most of the time for the sustain tool as a general rule. You will see. Let's watch here. They start engaging. The bubble is spent. Yeah, the fury is spent. The shields been not there and will last than half HP. Yeah, there are some shields because we're building those on top of our HP, but will last than half HP now. So they most likely will be using their reflect. They will be using their right click, and this is gonna be good enough most of the time for anybody, for the average player especially. I saw it in YouTube. Sure, Jeff ult forces the camera to look forward with Jeff, and Daredevil's ult will damage to Jeff ult. I didn't know that, to be honest. It's right. I know watched, but yeah, that's good to know. Maybe you can link for the rest of the guys, if you're able to. I think the players here, they're allowed to send links, if I'm not mistaken, right? So should be good. Yeah, so far, do you guys have any more questions about anything? We can obviously continue. I think we didn't cover the ultimate yet, so that would be good, but I hope all of what I said makes sense, and I obviously have notes too. I can send those to you afterwards. You can look away, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is true. Alright, let's continue. Yeah, actually, this is good timing, I think. They have the ultimate, and in my opinion, the ultimate for Daredevil, it's not doing, like, a lot of burst damage right away, yeah? but it's more an ultimate which allows you to force out the enemy resources, so someone might end up getting killed. And usually see that it's good for initiation for that reason. Whenever you know that the enemy team walks in towards your kill zone, where most of your team is able to follow up, then it's okay to start with that. You can see exactly this is happening. First off, they're trying to set up. They're trying to go towards some sort of angle here after they have to stabilize and starting their ultimate right away, because those guys actually they're walking towards my team does damage, so I think it's good enough to start with that, because that affects like just making sure that you there's constant damage. I can read the numbers if I have some. Let me see the numbers on this ultimate, how much you do. I think I saved. There's been, I think on the main website they've been exactly saying, oh, we can actually go in the practice range, I can tell you. But yeah, there's a damage. There's a damage over time, and you also have the blind effect on the enemy. Let me see. Maybe I can find you the numbers. Numbers. It's gonna be in the main website for sure. That's okay. It's okay. I think I will. Yeah. Okay. This is here. Let me see. They usually have the numbers. Okay. How much is that gonna be? Yeah. So it says here. Goes 85 damage per second when reaching the max damage. Visual range 35 meters, decreasing to 10 when the blind effect reaches its maximum. Yeah. So this is exactly just over time, kind of forcing something from the enemy most of the time. Good initiation tool, and you will see here they're starting using that ultimate, and the enemy team will try to most likely stabilize somehow. They will try to maybe either kite, try to pull back, and sometimes they might end up using their own ultimate too. So this is gonna be pretty good. Yeah, right now I'm not sure. I don't think they have to use the Luna Snow here to right away. Maybe hold on that a little bit. Let the Daredevil walk and then use the Luna Snow after if they really need to. But yeah, that's okay. They're taking the space. The enemy just have to kite. Afterwards, it's gonna be probably fine for them to respawn with the rocket as well. But the cart is not getting pushed currently, so it's not as bad for the blue team right now. Red can push the card afterwards though. Let me see. Is Daredevil the closest Ravas here to Overwatch Genji? How close is he? Not really. He's not the closest. I just used his reflect as comparison because it's almost the same. It's almost the same the way it works, because a lot of the people with the Genji, there's the ability, the deflect, that allows you to not just deflect back the damage to get kills. This is not the purpose of the deflect, and for that character too, Daredevil, it's exactly to allow you to stay in the angle where you want to. This is it. The deflect itself allows you to take better angles because you have it, and then if the enemy goes aggro, then you can use it to deflect the projectiles back to the enemy. It's gonna be alright, so you can stay alive and maybe run on the angle, so you don't have to fall back. It's gonna be the usual workflow, right? You take the position, you most likely will try to find the isolated something good to mark with F ability and actually oppress it so you can commit it. It's going to be on 15 seconds cooldown, and then after that we can use our E. It's going to be the throw or the slam. It doesn't matter. It matters, but the nuances you can figure out depending on the situation, obviously. And with the Writer's Cross, obviously, if it's getting activated, you keep using that. And Shift is mostly for the escape. Sometimes, and there are always going to be those exceptions. You can use your Shift to confirm the kill. But it's like with any other character, if you're using your mobility, you gotta 100% be sure that the kill is there. Somebody's really low, sure, maybe you can escape with your wall climb afterwards. It's gonna be okay. It's been like an Overwatch. Let's say Tracer commits Swiblings, or the Genji commits the dash. It's the same. It can kill you, but if it secures you the kill, then and you can stay alive, then it's gonna be alright. So it's obviously judge most of the time, but mostly the shift is gonna be for the escape. Yeah, well, this character in regards of how close he is to the Genji, well, kind of close, but not really. The Genji is also not a flanker in a way. It's more of a off-angle character. You kind of flank too badly, too deep, like on Daredevil. Yeah, hope that makes sense. You can obviously try out, see for yourself. The Overwatch, why not? But yeah, there's some. There are some nuances, like some of the abilities which are close to the characters from there. All right, I actually wanted you, since we're almost coming to the end, is just making sure that everybody gets their overall the workflow of the character. So first of all, to summarize, we always need to set up. Always take the best position possible if you can, unless there's a good reason why not to. You take in the good off angle, which is on the verticality, you trying to scout, have the good range from your team, so you're able to easily escape with your shift if it's needed, but try to stay on the angle as much as possible, and after you exactly able to fight with the rest of your team, you recognize, let's say I'm setting up, let's say you started going from here, this angle, you need to check for most of your team if they are ready, and when you engage, I actually recorded the video for you. I think it's been a good example of what this player is doing exactly. It's in 0.25 speed as well, so anybody, you guys can watch as well what it's typically happening after the setup. So let's watch that. It's exactly 58 seconds long. We start in the good vertical angle. We are seeing if there's opportunity for us to either engage with our team or we can fight isolated target whenever. Yeah, we are trying to just use our abilities to the best extent. Yeah, make sure that we spend our fury and kind of win the resource war, if that makes sense. Why I use this example? Because there's enemy Daredevil too. By the way, any of you guys, especially anyone who is Celestial Eternity player, tell me, after you see the first move, who is gonna win? This Daredevil here on the enemy team, or Eating Tacos and why? Just watch that. Watch that carefully, what they do. So, this guy starts in with the Devil's Throw. And then, the enemy Daredevil, well, actually starts with the shift. What do you think? Who has an advantage right away, and why? Who's winning the resource war?
Our Daredevil?
Our Daredevil? Why?
Because he used his shift already, right? And then he only used one cooldown. He used his cooldown that requires Fury, right? But you can get Fury back
Yes.
pretty easily.
Yeah, exactly. Resources, right? So this here, they had a few full fury already, and they decided to start the shift. Well, sometimes it can be okay, and maybe you can pull somebody in, but they don't have the follow-up. They don't have too many members in here with them. So this 18 attackers, they will not receive as much pressure. So technically, they're winning the resource war right away. So if they do everything right, which let's again see the workflow. They start with the throw, just for the damage. Actually, yeah, it starts here. You see it bounces as well, keep that in mind. It bounces, then the enemy starts with the pull in. Let me see, he has Flake and he used the sword first. Yeah, exactly. The red one, they've done the same damage and one has more fury. Yeah, see, it's not like who has more fury, I think even, it's just who is more effective for that. That's how I would put it. Obviously, resources like passive resources which you have matters, but the guy here who could gain the fury with the shift technically, and we're already more effective. We spend some fury here. Yeah, we could also gain more because we have shift. We are at the advantage, and obviously the damage. Don't forget about that. I think Eating Tacos have more damage output currently here. So ult charge is slightly higher, 7% versus 6% here, right? Slightly higher damage output.
The Red Devil, well, the Red Daredevil also has the Mantis damage boost on him, so there's also that to factor in.
Yeah, exactly. This is a small detail too. Actually, this helps them to remain here. Let me see. But the enemy one, they they have the Luna Snow Snowflake, right? So, in my opinion, I'm not too. I don't know if we can compare to numbers. I'm not sure like which one is gonna do more impact here. I think we have to do some calculations, but honestly, in my opinion, it's kind of sort of similar here. We can read the damage numbers. I think with like how much support each one gets, but yeah, it's kind of sort of similar, unless something. Yeah, so it's more about just how they approach this too. It's just all the resources spent, and even though you're not getting the kill, you may force out the enemy Daredevil, like anybody on the flank here. Like I said, it's first off starting with map control. Most likely, you will contest their flanker, you will meet their flanker. After you're done with the map control, you disable the flanker. You can do your own stuff on the map and drop together with your team or drop on isolated target, stuff like that. He has flake and he used the surfer. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was reading that. Yeah, so we are exactly gonna be able to do something right after. But first off is gonna be the map control. This is gonna be your workflow, generally speaking, on that character. From what I've seen, obviously each situation depends, but any of you guys who wanna play Daredevil, anyone who is watching this recording too, just feel free to use this workflow always. Set up, time the pressure, make sure that you always effective spending the Fury, get out with your shift most of the time, unless there's a good reason why you're using the shift to maybe confirm the kill, but most of the time, escape. Yeah, well, we still have some time left. I don't know. Do you guys, any of you, have final questions? Maybe any thoughts? I know. Yeah, I know. If you guys have any questions later, you obviously can ask those later too. But and I know this character is pretty new, pretty high skill ceiling in my opinion too. But yeah, if you want to play, I think this is fun. Give it a try for sure. So, is there anything, or if not, then I think we will end shortly. Cynically, sending you Gefest. I don't have no questions. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's all good. I think for the next time, actually, I might do some VOD reviews, and it's gonna be next Monday. I will do some VOD reviews. So if you also wanna get a VOD review on Daredevil, just say for anyone, feel free to bring those and any other characters too. I'll try to do just community VOD reviews. Any character, we'll try to choose randomly. Should be good. I will announce that in the events channel. Will be okay. And yeah, I think if there are no questions for today, then that's it. I will send the summary. It's gonna be in class and drills, and yeah, good luck in your games, guys. Really glad to see everyone here.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah. Bye bye, guys. Good luck.